So hello to everybody again. Just to introduce myself quite quickly, I'm Rhian Robinson. I'm the HR and L&D manager at Acuity Law. And one of my areas of responsibility is looking after our trainee programme. So I'm sure you'll be keen to hear a lot more about that today. And I've got Harriet, Kennelly and Charlotte joining me in order to talk to you a bit more, because they've actually had experience of going through that programme, so they can share some vital insights with you. Thank you to Cardiff for including us in this, and it's a great example of overcoming hurdles and still allowing opportunities for people through very difficult times. So thank you so much for including us. We're always thrilled to take part in events like this, because it's really important to us as a firm to be able to reach out to those coming through their law degrees and hopefully interest and inspire you to want to take up a future career at Acuity. So thank you very much. I'll start off with talking to you a little bit about Acuity, what we're known for, what we do, and then I'm going to pass over to Harriet and to Charlotte, and they'll talk to you about a little bit about their experience. How does that sound? Good? Good. So I'm just going to share my screen with you guys. You should be able to see this. Okay. So just to introduce Acuity Law to you, we are a team of exceptional and instinctively commercial lawyers. We work throughout the UK on international deals and projects. We're known for our entrepreneurial spirit, and we have an appetite for better legal service. Most importantly, our clients are at the heart of everything we do, and that's something that's really important to us in terms of the people that join our firm, is that they share that value with us. Over the last 2 decades, we've cemented our place as quality business law firm. We now have over 80 lawyers. We've got key offices based in London, Cardiff and Swansea, and our team continues to grow as we attract more talent and more clients. We regard ourselves as a business-to-business law firm and provide our clients with the legal expertise they need to successfully grow their business. We work with a select portfolio of clients, and our model is to be a natural extension of our clients' commercial and legal teams. We offer personal and proactive service with an emphasis on giving commercial solutions. So that's a little bit about us. Our services, just to break that down even further for you, we work in the banking and finance sector, commercial, corporate, in the creative industries, on data privacy and cybersecurity. We have an employment team. We have expertise around financial regulation and compliance, flexible legal resources, immigration. We have expertise around intellectual property, on international law, litigation and dispute resolution, public law, real estate, and we have a tech and communications team also. So we've got quite an extensive array of areas that we look after. Any firm is regarded by the calibre of its clients, and Acuity has several high-profile clients, which you'll see on the screen there. Associated British Ports, ScanSource, IQE, Principality Right Acres, Brickability and Bath University are some of our clients, although we've got a much longer list than this as well. So with that, I'm going to introduce you to Charlotte, who's going to talk to you about her experience at Acuity. I'll move to my microphone so you can take over. And she'll share some very extensive experience that she's had and how she's been building her career. Over to you, Charlotte.
Thanks, Rhian. Sorry, I was slightly late joining. I was stuck on a call, which is typical. So I was just the blank screen, and now I'm staring at myself, which is quite scary. So I've been in Acuity, gosh, how many years? Nearly 12 years, I think. So I started as a trainee a long time ago. Straight out of university, which I'm sure some of you will be as well, although a lot of our trainees now come as paralegals and then get some experience and then join as trainees after that. So I am, as you can see from the profile thing, part of the real estate team. And my experience with the firm has been that it's such a friendly place to work, because we spend a lot of time at work, and my colleagues have become my friends. I don't know whether that's what you want from where you work, but it makes a stressful job really manageable and fun, actually, because the work we do is very serious and can be fairly dry. But the team across the whole firm, not just the real estate teams, are lovely. And there's a really good sort of work-life balance, social side as well as the social committee. So there's always things going on, and you can choose how much you get involved with these types of things as well. And there's in more recent years junior Acuity, as well, which is a social group as well as sort of supporting each other in their career development. We've got a mentoring scheme as well to try and help bring along the juniors. And I think everyone is so approachable. And if trainees have got issues or problems, or the ethos is sort of a really, it's a bit of a cliche, but it really is open door. And people shouldn't be feeling afraid to, you know, put their hands up if they think things should change or they want different types of experiences. So yeah, just trying to give you a flavour of the type of firm we are really, because the type of work I do is quite specific now in the property department. So yeah, it's hard as well, because I don't know if anyone's got any specific questions about things that we can cover in depth with the interview process and that type of thing, or whether we'll do questions at the end, Rhian. I'm not sure about the format particularly.
We don't have to stick to a specific format. If there are burning questions now and anybody wants to share those, then we can take them now, or if you'd rather keep them till the end, till you've heard a little more, completely up to you.
It's all silent, I assume. There's no questions.
No questions.
Well, maybe if I can give a little overview of my experience, and then maybe towards the end people might have a few more questions from what both Charlotte and I have said. Does that sound like a good idea?
You're a bit quiet, Harriet. I don't know.
I'll sit closer to the. Oh, there I am. Same top on. That's funny, isn't it? Can you hear me? Okay.
Yeah, that's better. I'll mute myself now.
So, yeah, my name is Harriet Kennedy. I'm a paralegal here in the commercial property team, and I joined a year ago, just over a year now. So my experience was that I joined as a paralegal, as I still am now, and I was very keen when I started to use this as a good way to gain experience, but to learn more about the firm. And it was really clear to me within the first few months that I really did want to work here, and that's obviously worked quite well, because now I'm a future trainee at the firm, and through the past few months, although there's been quite a lot of uncertainty, Acuity have been really good at making sure that the firm still grows, and they were still able to offer training contracts, which I think is a really good sign of the firm being very focused on the future and trying to maintain stability in these like really uncertain times. So that was great. But yeah, so before I worked here, I did an English and drama degree. So some of you listening now might have an undergraduate degree in something that's not related to law, that you might be looking to convert. So that's how I got into it. So if you have any questions on that, like, please let me know. And yeah, when I started I applied as a general paralegal, and I got put into real estate. So if anyone's got any questions about that, I'm more than happy to answer those. But yeah, like Charlotte said, the firm is so friendly. Everybody is so approachable, and I'm really happy working here. I'm really excited for the future, and there's some really good departments you can work in, such a variety of opportunities here. So far, I've only experienced commercial property, but throughout my training contract, I'll do other seats in the other departments, which is really exciting. And yeah, just generally, everyone is really good to work with. And like Charlotte said, you make friends with the people that you work with, which makes like the day-to-day a lot kind of less serious in a way. And you can, you can enjoy that a lot. So yeah, and we have a brilliant office in Cardiff as well. I don't know if I can show you the view I've got right now. It, but it's really pretty office. There's not many people in at the moment because everything that's going on, but yeah, we've stayed open, and a few of us come in now and then, so yeah, it's really good. But yeah, I don't know if anyone's got questions now, or we want to continue having more of a general discussion first. Okay.
Do we just move it to the next slide? It's a little slow, so bear with it.
Still moving.
No. Oh, there we go. Is that the right one?
Yes. Shall I go through this slide, Rhian, or would you like to?
Yeah, that'd be fab, thank you.
Okay, so yeah, this is about the summer vacation scheme. So this will be I think this is going to be in July this year. So I can't quite see the screen properly. Oh, in June, sorry. And it's in the Cardiff and Swansea offices. So not in the London one, but both those offices are obviously based in Wales, and they're good, kind of, you get a good flavour of the work there. And the applications are open at the moment if you'd like to apply for this. So it's a really good opportunity to go on a vacation scheme. So you can get a bit more experience with the firm that you're interested in maybe applying for a training contract, but also just to get a bit more experience in the legal profession. Because I think until you really work in a law firm, it's quite difficult to understand what like the day-to-day life of a solicitor is. So yeah, I'd encourage everybody to definitely apply for this opportunity. I've just seen a question pop up. Is the vacation scheme open to non-law students? I think it is. That was my understanding of it. I don't know if Rhian, you can confirm on that, but I think it's open to everybody. If you're studying an undergrad and like I did English and drama, anything other than law, I think you can still apply for that. You don't need to be doing law at the moment. And another question here: are you offered a TC interview at the end of the vacation scheme? Again, I think that's the case. Is that the case, Rhian?
You would need to apply for a training contract. So if you've done the summer vacation scheme, that would clearly give you some great insight and some great knowledge about the firm, and probably give you, a really good chance when you're putting your application through. We would like you to apply then for the training contract as well. Any questions specifically on these, we've got a great section of our website that you can go on to, you can have a look through, and it'll guide you through the application process as well. So I'd encourage everybody that's interested, make sure you get onto our website. Like we said, the applications are open now. I'm sifting through at the moment. So please make sure that you get on there and have a little look around.
I've seen a few more questions pop up. One of them, what are the key skills that you look for in a trainee? Maybe Charlotte, you could answer that one because you've been kind of...
Key skills from a trainee. That's such a difficult question, but it's kind of the things that you would expect, I suppose. Be bright, accommodating, hardworking, conscientious. I think a really big one, which is important to me, is that the trainee has to care, and you can't teach that. We have found in the past that you find people that, I don't know, it's something innate about someone, whether or not they actually care about what they're doing and the team that they're in, is really, really important, because a lot of stuff you can learn, but fundamentally, if you don't care about what you're doing, it's really difficult as trying to work with someone and help them develop. So yeah, and clearly an interest in law. If you're going for the Cardiff office, an interest in showing why you want a specific office is also really important. Why Acuity as well? Clearly we're very sort of corporate, commercial in our work, and so some experience or reason why you specifically want to go down the corporate or commercial route is important. Hopefully that's helpful to people. It's hard to say, really.
Yeah, it's hard to like sum up, but
good question.
Yeah, really good question. And I think that another thing which is good is probably that if you've done the modules, like that fit quite well with the firm as well. So okay, if you've done maybe a module in family, not saying you shouldn't apply, but maybe that isn't as relevant as, say, doing like a commercial property module on your LPC. So just thinking about what interests you and like tailoring that to your application would probably be really helpful.
That way you can evidence your reasons for why you're going down the corporate or commercial route. Or on the flip side, you could say, and it might be worth explaining in your application, that whilst you've done a family law elective, for example, you actually didn't enjoy that, and you now think that therefore a commercial route is the way you want to go. So it's just trying to sort of demonstrate why you think you are a good match to the firm. And I imagine almost everybody that applies will have the results and, you know, all the grades and stuff, and it's just having the extra things around that, which will hopefully make you a good lawyer.
I would say as well that our website is, again, a really good source of information about what we value, how we do business, and then the skills that you'd need to display to match up to that. Because I would add in things like being proactive and self-driven is really important. And also, you know, we mentioned it earlier, and I think it's building on your point, Charles, around caring, is that client focus is really important to us.
Yeah, and the phrase everyone always uses, commercial awareness.
No.
You know, an hour about what is that commercial awareness, and that is important to being at Acuity. And I think what we mean by that is looking at, so for example, a client can come to me and say, I want to buy this building, and so rather than just say to them, okay, this is my fee, let's sort it out for you, it's looking beyond that and saying, well, okay, there's a tenant in there, but the lease is about to end in a year. Have you checked that? You know, the market's about to dive. Do you think you'll get a new tenant? And sort of looking beyond what's face value, I suppose. And it's that sort of commercial awareness. And so, yeah, it's being aware of what's going on around and not just taking things at face value, I think.
Yeah, and it's that problem solving, you know, kind of mindset, isn't it? Is that you're using all of your knowledge, all of your acumen then to make a play on words, to be able to solve our clients' problems. And
I think as well, that's something that Acuity is really well known for. Clients come to us not just when they actually want to do something, but before, and try and discuss things and get a steer on how they should structure deals, as well as just actually getting the legal advice once they're there. And if you can kind of get your head around and understand that and get that across in your application as well, I think that would be really good.
Yeah, in every training contract interview I've ever had, they've always asked me, how do you build on your commercial awareness, or how do you improve it? And it's actually really difficult to explain, because beyond sort of like watching the news, reading the paper, it's kind of just like, well, I try my best to do this and that. So if you can think of any like specific examples, I think that would make you stand out. You know, if there's a group you can join at uni, or if you can get together with some people and talk about commercial issues that are affecting certain sectors more than others at the moment, and be able to talk about more specific things in an interview, I think that's really helpful. Because yeah, like we said, it's a big part of working at a commercial law firm. So yes, should we answer another question? So can you apply for both the TC and the VAC scheme within the same application cycle? Yes, I'm pretty sure you can. Again, I think the process is you would apply for the VAC scheme and then the training contract, and then use your experience from the VAC scheme to kind of inform your training contract application.
Yeah, and if you're wanting to apply for them both, then there are separate application processes for both. So, and they ask slightly different questions. So just make sure you go through them and make sure that you're able to demonstrate everything by going through the individual processes as well.
I think the next question is, do you sponsor LPC? Sadly not.
Yeah, so no sponsorship with the LPC. Do you offer any opportunities for first year undergrad law students?
I would need to specifically go away and check on that point in particular, if the VAC scheme wasn't seen as being suitable for them. We have previously offered work experience opportunities as well. It is much more difficult in the situation that we're in with COVID-19 to open that up and broaden that out again at the moment, because the office is, as Harriet's shown you, the environment's a little different, and it may not be as valuable as it would normally be with an office full of people. But can I take that as a question that I can come back to the group on?
So the next question, could you share what the culture of the firm is like and the qualities to demonstrate? If you could talk more about what helped you choose Acuity as a good fit for you in terms of working environment and people.
For you guys.
Yeah, I talked a little bit at the beginning about the culture of the firm, and I think clearly we're very commercially driven, but a really nice place to work as well. There's a lot of people that have been at the firm, like I have, since trainees. A lot of the partners trained at the firm, and and so you don't get people working in places for several years unless it's a nice place to work. So I think that sort of sells itself. What helped me choose Acuity? I wanted a firm in Cardiff at the time, and I'm still there. I wanted to work in a corporate or commercial firm as well. I just couldn't get my head around the idea of doing more personal things like family law or being emotionally involved with what you were doing. And the corporate and commercial side really appealed to me. Harriet can probably talk a bit more recent for her, possibly, about the impression she had from the firm at first, when she first came.
Yeah, no, definitely. Well, like I said earlier, it's very, within the first, I'd say 2 months, I was pretty sure that I wanted to stay. And I've had a lot of support from people. So when I started as a paralegal, although you kind of in a position where you're going to get a lot more kind of experience, so you will have maybe a benefit when you're applying for a training contract. It was never really a given, and I was like overwhelmed with the support that I've had from everybody. It's been a really, really good experience for me, and the property team, I can safely say that they're amazing, but also the firm as a whole. We've gone to lots of different social events, and we had like a summer party. So before I'd even started working at the firm, I was invited to the summer party last year, ahead of starting in September. So I came along to this event having never met anybody other than 2 people from an interview for a paralegal position. And I had such a positive experience that day. I was really looking forward to like joining the firm. So yeah, I think that my first impression was very positive, very friendly firm, really, really good at what we do as well. And yeah, just really overall really positive, and it's continued to be the same since. So yes, really, really good. And I'd say actually another thing really quickly about good fit, I think that's really important. I think that when you come to a firm and you feel comfortable, not to the point where you're like laid back and you don't want to work, but like to the point where you feel like you can ask questions. People will take time out of their day to sit down and discuss things that you're struggling with, and you're also being challenged at the same time. I think that to me was what was really important, and I knew I wanted to work for a commercial law firm. Like Charlotte, I wasn't keen on getting too emotionally invested in like family law or anything like that. But again, I think it's just about getting experience, and that's really how you figure out what you are looking for and where you want to work. And for me, everything about Acuity just makes so much sense to me. So yeah, I just recommend getting as much kind of practical experience, but also kind of thinking about the firm and what they represent, and then taking that into account when you're applying for this law firm and for other ones as well.
Okay, where are we up to on our question? Sorry, I've lost.
I think we're
worst parts.
Best and worst parts, yeah.
Have we done how many training contracts, vacation places we offer per year? We haven't done that one, have we?
No,
Low, isn't it?
we're on best and worst.
We're just 2.
I've just seen it. So the next one would be then, how many training contracts and vacation scheme places do we offer each year? There isn't a set amount as such. It's so we don't necessarily cap it and say we only want a set amount each year. We base it on what our need is in that current year. The most recent intake, we took 3 training contracts on this year. So again, it's something that we judge at the time, but you could use that number as a guide potentially. Okay, so the next one then is how can non-law applicants really set themselves apart in the application process? So we've probably got some insider information here, haven't we, with you, Harriet? The best way of demonstrating skills of securing legal work experience. What's your thoughts on that?
I think things have become more difficult this year, like you've pointed out in this question. Getting work experience is becoming increasingly more difficult with going into the office and actually having that like practical work experience. But I think there's other experiences you can draw on which are still really valuable when you're applying for a training contract. So if you've had a part-time job, for example, working in a pub, and you've had to deal with customers, that automatically gives you experience with managing expectations and getting on with people and trying to organize yourself, trying to organize your day to day with factoring in a weekend job, things like that. So I'd say that if getting legal work experience isn't proving very difficult, proving very easy at the moment, I'd say maybe reflect on the experience you do have and think about how you can make that relevant to your application and to working in a law firm. I'd also say that any online experience you can get is really helpful. So I think you can do like virtual vacation schemes, which you can kind of practice online. So I know some of the bigger law firms offer these, and you may not want to apply for like a big law firm, but getting some experience doing some of the practical tasks that they can offer is actually really good. So I'm pretty sure, some of the big law firms in London give these like practice vacation schemes just to give you an idea of the kind of work that you could do. So with virtual open days and work experience and part-time job, definitely, like I said, part-time job, you can find anything from something like that. Like I worked as a bus driver, which was not really the most relevant job to working as a lawyer, but I brought it up in my interview for the training contract, and they were like, oh, that's brilliant. Like, what skills did you build with that? And it's like, well, I learned how to work with people. I've learned how to manage difficult situations, work under pressure, manage my time. All of these things come from something not relevant to the legal industry, but so relevant to the experience that you've gained. So I'd say, just take a step back, think about what you've done. And if you can't get actual legal work experience in an office, try and draw on other experience you've had. I
agree, because that just shows your resourcefulness as well, doesn't it? Because what we're essentially looking for is what are your transferable skills. Again, go and have a look through our website, get a flavour for what we value as a firm, and then think about how you could demonstrate that. That could be through all those examples that Harriet's given. It could be volunteer things that you've done if you've headed up any sort of groups or societies, projects you've undertaken through your studies. There's loads of ways of demonstrating it. It's making sure that you keep those skills at the core of your responses and then demonstrate what you've been able to do. Would you want to add anything, Charlotte?
I was just going to say it could possibly be a benefit that it's difficult to get work experience, because actually it's difficult for everybody. I think it's always been difficult to get work experience, but I would have thought now it's virtually impossible. And so last year, if you didn't have any work experience and other people did, perhaps you were pretty much a no. Whereas now, if no one can get any experience,
levels the playing field.
But there's other things now which I think are more accessible to law students and other students than they would have been before. Things like webinars, which are completely free to attend, well, usually. And these things, so virtually all of our training and sort of client broadcasts now, if you like, are done electronically, and you would be able to have access to those. So if you were interested, you could sign up to find out what sort of things we're pushing out there, and then that would help as well get a flavour of the type of firm we are and the work we do, and so things like that. Not obviously not just with Acuity, because I assume people will be applying to numerous firms. So
good, thanks. I think the next question on the thread is the deadlines for the training contract starting in 2023. So we have the application process open for 2022 at the moment. That closes early December. So then it'll be this time next year that you would be applying for the 2023 contract. Okay, so what is the retention like between TC and newly qualified?
Pretty good, I think. It depends, like a lot, because if a trainee really wants to go into the corporate department, but there's no corporate jobs, then obviously the person can't be retained, or that usually the reason people leave is if they geographically don't want to be in the locations that we've got, and so the London office is smaller, and so if there isn't a corporate job in the London office, then somebody might leave, but generally I think the retention rates are, I don't know in percentage, but I would say most people are retained.
Yeah, and when we recruit for our trainee contracts, it's done with the intention of building careers and people that we want to continue to have within our firm. So sometimes there are circumstances outside of control, or that individual's desire to go and do something different. But certainly the intention is that we are building that for people that will work with us for a longer period of time.
Yeah. Trainees are an investment for the firm. A lot of time and effort goes into the trainees, and so where possible, you know, we're keen not to let somebody else get hold of somebody that we've nurtured for 2 years.
Question for you, Harriet. Would you recommend the paralegal route?
Well, as it's the only route I've gone through, I think it's a very good way to gain experience and to work out where you want to work. Because people said to me before I started my first job this time last year with Acuity, they said, oh, working life is so difficult, it's so hard to get up so early. And I was like, oh my Lord, sounds like so difficult. But actually getting this practical experience before getting offered a training contract, I think it's helped me with my applications, firstly. So to be able to apply somewhere that you've worked is obviously a benefit, but also having practical experience, whether or not you're applying to the place that you work at or another place, is always a good thing. So I would recommend paralegal work for that in itself. And I think it just gives you more of a flavour of the variety of work available to you too. So if I was really not enjoying property, which isn't the case, but within, say, the first 6 months of working here, I could have requested to move to another department. So it would have opened up an opportunity to figure out something that I don't like and then try something new, which is really important. And I think, yeah, just getting practical experience is difficult, but if you can work as a paralegal with the kind of focus on getting a training contract, either where you're working or somewhere else, I think it's a really good route to go, especially because I did do a law degree. So, okay, I did my GDL and my LPC, but 2 years of studying law, you still don't quite, it's still difficult to know it's what you want to do for the rest of your life. So working as a paralegal for the past year has like massively encouraged me and inspired me to focus on this career path. And I think it's definitely one of the reasons that I got my training contract. I don't think I necessarily was ready when I started as a paralegal before I had all my experience. So for me, I think it's definitely been like the best route. But then I know a lot of people who've come straight out of uni and they've started as trainees and they've, you know, done really well. We've had a new trainee start recently who's come straight from uni and she's doing really great. So I think it just depends on the kind of person you are, maybe what experience you've had before, and yeah, kind of what you want from your experience as a whole.
I think what's really positive is that there are a number of different routes that people can take. Yeah. And like you say, it's knowing what's right for you and your circumstances, but you've still got the opportunities at the end of that.
Yeah, definitely. And it's nice because Acuity don't just focus on people straight from uni, or they don't just focus on people who have not, you know, done the traditional route. They're happy for other people to come from different backgrounds, from career changes, not just from one age group or one kind of experience range either. So that's good as well, because we get like a mixture of people then within the firm. It's more diverse that way, and I think it makes for a more kind of collaborative working experience.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Okay, so on the chat, I think that's the last question. Are there any others that want to be posed?
Anything about like practical things in terms of the application process or the interview? Any questions that people want to ask about that? Because I did do it quite recently, so it's quite fresh in my mind.
I think as well, if anybody wants to message or email us privately after this, feel free. You know, we'll get back to you then. It's a strange format here compared to when we were at the law fair last year, and we could just have a chat with people individually.
Yeah. But we've just had a question come in around what does the interview day look like, tasks, etc. So we're not going to share too much insider information because we certainly don't want to spoil anything. And Harriet, you've just been through it, so I'm sure you can.
I won't say anything too specific, don't worry.
Yeah. We take like an assessment centre approach to it. So we don't just rely on an interview or a task. We want to see people show their best in a number of different ways. So there's a number of opportunities in terms of tasks and discussions and interviews that people will take part in. Would you agree with that? Good. Okay.
Definitely. It's a good way to get an understanding of people's strengths in lots of different areas, not just in one.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Yeah, I think there's a telephone interview as well, isn't there?
Yeah, so very early on in the process, we'll look at applications and sift, and then there'll be a telephone interview which allows us to take another sift, because I'm sure you can appreciate we get lots and lots of applications, and so it's quite a process to narrow it down to those people that then go further on to go to interviews, undertake assess tasks and so on. So yeah, there's a number of stages. And at each stage, we're making sure that people are able to demonstrate their value and match up to what Acuity is looking for in terms of its future employees. So how would you make your applications stand out, do you think?
I think that, again, drawing on your practical experience is a lot more kind of tangible for somebody looking at an application to go, okay, well, they've done this, so they can see this. But I don't think it's like the be all and end all, because if you've got, like we were talking about, a part-time job or something extra that you do on the side, a club which shows that you can really commit yourself, if you do like charity work, anything that can really show that you've got like something a bit different, as it's obviously such a competitive job. And also being able to tailor your answer as specifically as possible to your research about Acuity will make you stand out, because you could easily copy and paste across loads of different applications, but I think that the people looking at them will be able to see straight through that, and they can think, well, that you could have said that about any law firm. And a good approach that I took when I was doing applications was, okay, I'd write a sentence out that I was saying about this law firm or whatever, and then I'd say, okay, if I take the name out and I put a different law firm's name in, will that still make sense? And if so, is there a way I can make it more specific to the law firm that I'm applying to? Because they want to see that you put effort in to research them, and to really understand the culture. Because, I mean, it shows a lot about you as a person if you've gone through and gone on open days like this and researched the website and listened to a few webinars. So yeah, if you can put anything specific into an application form, I think that will make you really stand out.
You've got some great advice there. And I would say this isn't going to help you to stand out, but there's just some basics really in terms of read the question, read your answer back, make sure you've fully answered the question, even on things as basic as what qualifications do you have, what were your grades, make sure that you're providing everything and you've properly sense checked it before you send it in. Okay. I think that's
really quickly, general advice, which I'm just thinking back to think what I got told, which was helpful. If you're planning on doing applications to like a load of law firms, maybe thinking about where you're applying. So if you want to work in Wales and then you're applying to like one in somewhere else, like trying to kind of find some consistency across your applications, it'll just make a little bit more sense when you come to an interview. You can like justify where you've chosen to apply. Yeah, things like that I think really help. Showing commitment to Wales, I think that goes down really well with Acuity as well, because our main office is obviously in Cardiff. So yeah.
Great answer, thank you. I can't see any more questions on you for the moment. We do have a couple more slides that we can go to. So there's some further information on the screen at the moment that you can hopefully see that's about our summer vacation scheme, which we've probably covered off, but let's just go through it quickly. So the applications are open. At the end of the scheme, a selection of candidates will be invited back to participate in an additional week's work experience where we'll have the opportunity to gain additional experience within a practice area of their choosing. So that's a great thing that Acuity is able to offer, is that we can ask you to come back and you're able to choose an area that you can spend an additional week in. So that, that's something to really differentiate this experience over others. Many of our vacation scheme attendees apply for our training contract, having benefited from a first-hand experience life of Acuity, which we mentioned earlier. We accept applications from candidates who have completed or are completing an undergraduate degree of any discipline. and who are eligible to apply for a training contract to commence in September 2022. So I think that might answer some of the questions from earlier as well. Okay, let's see if we can change slide again. It's a little slow. This is specifically about our training contracts. Again, we may have covered some of this off, so let's have a little look. So we recognise our people are our biggest asset. We're therefore committed to developing our lawyers and offering a full and varied training programme for our trainee solicitors, which has absolutely been attested to today. Training contracts available in Cardiff, London and Swansea offices commence in September each year. They're recruited 18 months ahead. Therefore, if you apply in December 20, your application will be considered for a training contract in September 22. So going back to that question earlier, when the contract process opens, we are a progressive commercial law firm which is reflective in our people. We therefore look for candidates who have a strong academic background with a keen interest in the commercial world. Practical work experience in a commercial environment is also beneficial. So again, all that's been covered off with you, but it's backed up there. We have excellent retention rates and a high proportion of our trainees stay with us on qualifying. Here's just a testimonial there. So from one of our solicitors, Acuity is a friendly and nurturing place to train. The mentoring system helps ease new trainees into lawyer life and gives you access to support from all levels. From newly qualified solicitors to senior partners, working in an open plan office promotes collaboration, and you are constantly learning from senior members of the team, hearing them on the phone and interacting with a wide range of clients. Now, even though we're in a slightly different environment in terms of working now, and we need to, enable people to work from home and so on, that sense of support is still there in terms of having contact with your colleagues and being able to learn from others. And we've got another testimonial there from somebody that's completed the vacation scheme. So it was the first vacation scheme. I was unsure of what to expect and eager to get the most out of it. Acuity helped me in this massively from day one. They were incredibly generous in the time they devoted to giving me a range of legal experience. I was given hands-on, often live projects to work on and was made to feel like part of the team rather than just an intern or temporary member of staff. I thoroughly enjoyed my vacation scheme at Acuity. So we got some great testimonials there from people that previously benefited. Okay, so do we have any further questions, any final ones?
We've got two more that have been added. What's the deadline for the summer vacation scheme application? Do you know this off the top of your head, Rhian? Or...
Okay, so again, all on the website, but I believe that it closes early December.
And out of the current trainees, approximately how many have completed the VAC scheme? I know, obviously I didn't, but I mean, I've done like a year VAC scheme, obviously because I've worked for the past year here. I think that at least one of the ones who started this year did. Yeah. So I think quite a few people will have done the VAC scheme and then use that kind of experience and that knowledge of Acuity to then fill in a training contract application, because it will definitely make you stand out and we'll just have a little bit more knowledge to build on in your interview process as well.
Yeah, and it's also helpful for you in making a decision of where you do want to apply to, because you would have seen that you've enjoyed the experience, the culture, the way that the firm works. So, it's really beneficial for you as well. If you do have any questions that you think about afterwards, I'm sure you can pose them to the team at Cardiff. They can pass them on to us, and then we'll be happy to come back to you via email or any other means. That sound good?
Yeah, feel free to add me on LinkedIn or send me an email. More than happy to answer any questions or help with the process if anyone has any specific queries about that. So let me know. Great.
Well, it's been fantastic to speak to you all today. Thank you, Harriet and Charlotte, for taking part, sharing all that expertise. Some great advice shared there. Just a final thank you from us all then, and hopefully we'll see those applications coming in soon.
Thank you.
Take care, everyone. Bye.
Bye.